Hi, my name's Adam. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about financial stress. And Ledger did a survey just a couple months ago with just over 2,000 Canadians about financial stress. And I want to go through the data. It's a bit mind-boggling to me, and I think it's going to hit home with a lot of you. And I'm not going to just go through the data on the actual survey itself, but give some feedback, what we see, maybe some tips to help you walk through this process. I know because I talk to a lot of you on a daily basis, what this survey represents is what you guys represent, which is stressful. Retirement, stress, the markets right now, inflation going high, the cost of living, everything. It's very stressful. So my goal at the end of this video is to give you some tools to be a little less stressful in general, financial, in your retirement thinking from where you currently are moving forward. So looking at the respondent profile, I think this is very important. So 51% women, 48% men. Again, the age gap, it varies from 18 all the way to 75 and older. So they've got a good diverse range of people, a lot of single, some married, some born in Canada, some not. So very representative of the country as a whole. Education-wise, some have universities, some college, some less. A household income, again, ranges as well. They try to get kind of the Canadian average. This isn't a survey that was done with a small group of like-minded people. It's the broad Canadian spectrum. And that's why when I saw the survey, A, it's 2,000 people, so it's a good handful, much bigger than most surveys that are done. And B, the quality and the structure of people that they surveyed, it checks the boxes for me. And it says, you know what, this is probably pretty accurate. And again, I line it up with what I hear from you guys, and I would say it's very accurate to what a lot of you are feeling. So as I break down the survey here, we'll throw up the charts, but as you can see, the first thing is more than 4 in 10, so 40% of you have lost sleep because of financial worries. Obviously, this is concerning. As a financial planner, this is very concerning. A lot of people, and we will get to this, the data proves this, is that a lot of you don't have a financial plan, whether it's a financial plan you're younger, a retirement plan when you get older, a tax plan, estate plan, all of this. You're either trying to do it yourself or you're pushing it off and ignoring it altogether. I had 4 phone calls today with new prospective clients, and all 4 of them were very stressed and very unsure about what the future holds. And you know, that's why they're reaching out to me, and good on them for reaching out. But I think a lot of you fall into this category of, I'm either going to try and do it myself and it's not working, and maybe you're too ashamed to reach out to a professional, maybe you don't know how to or what the next step is. Again, parallelwealth.com/planning. We're always happy to connect with you guys, see if our services match what you're looking for, but talk to someone, get help. There's professionals out there, right? It's like a counselor. If you need help with your accounting, you get an accountant. If you need help with building a house, you get a builder, right? There's professionals out there for different pieces of your life. When it comes to financial stress, you want to talk to a financial planner, and ideally a QAFP, a qualified associate financial planner, or a CFP, a certified financial planner. These are people that have gone through education and have training to help you make the right decisions and take this stress level like down or off completely. So the 3 biggest stressors were saving enough for retirement, paying bills and expenses, and saving enough for major purchases. Again, saving for retirement is the top out list, and that does not surprise me. Again, going back to, you haven't put a plan in place. You don't know what you need. You don't know when you can retire. It's actually mind-boggling how many people we do plans for, and I say like, yeah, I know your plans to retire in 2 years from now, but you could have retired 2 years ago. And of course, no one wants to hear that, but it's a reality. Some people want to retire in 2 years, and it's like, you got 5 to 10 more years of work left to even get a reasonable income. There is a point where you want to sit down and crunch some numbers. Now, again, you can do this on your own and get a rough idea. As you get closer to retirement, you probably want to hire a professional that has software and the tools to kind of grind into it. They're going to save money on taxes, estate, give you more after-tax income, all of that. There's going to be value there. But if you just need to get started, get a spreadsheet and start working through the numbers. The next chart I'm going to show up, actually, it makes me laugh a little bit because it says actions to reduce financial stress. So what are you going to do to reduce your financial stress? And of course, the number one thing is to save more, right? If I save more, I'll have less stress. Well, if you ask the richest people on earth, people around you that make really good money, I can tell you that they don't have less stress because they have more money. That's not typically how it happens. So it's funny how the mindset though is like, well, I'm having financial issues, so I need to save more. In theory, that sounds great, but practicality of it just isn't there. And again, talk to people around you that make really good money and see if they have less stress. I guarantee you they don't. What boggles my mind, and it's very concerning for me as a financial planner, is as we go down the list, paying down debt, have an emergency savings fund, create a budget is 4th. Okay, that should be number 1, not 4. You can't save more money without having a budget, okay? And then building a financial plan. To me, creating a budget ties in with the one behind financial plan, which is understanding my expenses. If you create a budget, you'll start to understand your expenses. Those go hand in hand. The next thing needs to be to build a financial plan. Get a budget, build a plan. From there, you can figure out how do you save, how do you pay off expenses, all that kind of stuff. You can't save more if you don't have a budget. I think a lot of people are having stress because they don't know where to start. Start with a budget. If you're watching this video and this is you and you have no idea where to start, don't start by trying to save more, because you probably are in this situation because you don't have a budget. Get a budget, then you can understand what you're spending. If your budget shows that you can't save anything, then you may need to change your budget. You may need to get a second job. You may need to do something to generate more revenue. Go drive Uber, something like that. And then you start saving more. You cannot save more until you understand where your money's going. So when we look at actual steps people have taken to reduce the stress, this one lines up more with what you should be doing, which number one, track your expenses. Absolutely. You need to know, again, where your money's going. So track your expenses, pay down your debt. Again, save more, create a budget. That should be before save more. Set up an emergency fund, receive financial support from a professional, build a plan, these types of things. I do like to see track my expenses, number one. You need to know what you're spending. Too many people have no idea where their money's going. You need to know where your money's going, especially if you're not saving enough, or especially if it's bringing stress to you. If you have stress around your finances and you don't know where your money's going on a daily and monthly basis, that's the first place to start. So the next chart shows the negative impact that people experience from financial health. And this is the most concerning to me. So the first one, obviously by a country mile, is anxiety, depression, and mental health issues. I think this comes into our life, and I see it firsthand in my life, people close to me that struggle with anxiety, depression. Obviously, having a financial health just adds a layer onto there. So I think a lot of people, it's just 35%. I think that 35% are already dealing with anxiety and depression and that in other areas of their life as well. And this just compounds onto it. Again, if we can relieve that financial stress in your life by, again, budgeting, creating tools to make sure you know where your money is going, start saving, get a plan in place, these kind of things will lower your financial stress, which will help reduce anxiety overall. Now, you may still have anxiety, depression, whatever else in other areas of your life that you need to work on as well. Some of you are just born with it. I get it. I have people very close to me that struggle with this. I don't personally. I've been very fortunate by that, but I have people very close to me that struggle with anxiety and depression. And I will tell you firsthand, I swear some people are born with it. It's just in them and they have to deal with it. It's part of their makeup. If that's in you and you add on financial stress, that anxiety starts to compound, that depression starts to compound. We need to bring that back down. So let's figure out how to reduce that financial stress because it's going to help you. Now, if you know someone around you that deals with anxiety, depression, mental health issues, and you also know that they deal with financial stress and you're good at this, if you know how to help with financial, step into their life and help them out. They need it. They're not going to ask for it. I promise you that, but they need it. So if you know someone, it may be a friend, a coworker, family member, whoever it is, step into their life, come alongside them and support them in that. Because by supporting them in that, you're going to support them in the anxiety, depression, mental health, everything else. And trust me, it's going to make a massive, massive impact to them. So if you have someone close to you, do that for me. Step into their life and help them out. So obviously right now we're facing a lot of external factors that are impacting our financial health and financial stress. And that is really inflation. So rising grocery prices, gas prices, cost of goods and services, interest rates, housing prices, rent prices, market volatility, mortgage rates. If you have a mortgage and you had to renew in the last couple months, your mortgage probably went from 1 point something all the way up to 4 point something. That's a big jump. Your interest costs went up exponentially. That means that you have less money to save. There's more money going out the door and potentially driving up that anxiety and that health. If that's you, my solution to this, and it's the best solution you can really work with, is interest rates are higher. You're going to pay more on your mortgage and your debt. So that means more money out the door. You need to make sure your budget is dialed in because you have more money going out. You need to keep saving. You need to plan for retirement. You need to stop spending money in other areas. You're spending more on your mortgage. Your groceries went up. Your gas went up. Everything's going up. I live in this world too. I feel it firsthand. It might mean you need to work some nights, take a second job, do something a bit different to offset those additional expenses. To me, when price goes up, that means I have to make more money. I have to find ways to make more money. So make sure that just because more money is going out, that you're not saving less. You need to keep making more. And there's different ways to do it. Everyone's got a different theory on that, mentality on that, whether you make something. Again, I'm into woodworking. That's partly what I do sometimes, is just make stuff because I use it as a de-stressor. I love making stuff, getting in my shop, putting headphones on, and just making whatever. And sometimes I sell it, sometimes I don't, whatever it is. But it's twofold for me. It's a de-stressor and I can make a little bit of money on the side. Beyond that, I've done a few other things. Trust me, selling a few little trinkets that I make in my shop is not going to pay for my $2,500 a month grocery bill because I have 4 kids. It's phenomenally expensive right now. It's actually mind-boggling how much our grocery bill has gone up with inflation. We feel it firsthand. I get it. I've made adjustments and I encourage you to do the same. The next chart shows something that I've been talking to with people for quite a while here now through the pandemic is there's less middle class than there was before. So 39% of people have less disposable income versus a year ago and 20% have more. The rich got richer and the middle class went poorer. And that's really the separation. I feel day in and day out when I talk to people that there's less people in that middle class space. It's still a lot of you out there, obviously, but it's been thinned out. A lot of you have gone one way or the other, and this data proves that. The next chart shows, any significant purchases or expenses over the next little bit. And I think this ties into a lot of you haven't traveled, haven't spent some money, you have some cash saved up. Even though you have the cash in the banks, for a lot of you, it still brings anxiety to spend that money because you don't know what the future holds. So naturally it shouldn't, right? I've saved 20 grand for my big vacation. I have the cash, I'm going to travel. But in the back of your head, you think, what if I lose my job? What if prices keep rising? Like, what if? And you're unable to freely spend that money. So I get it. If you feel that way, then cut your trip back a bit. Spend $15,000, save $5,000 more for a buffer down the road. Do something like that, because if you've saved money, a lot of you haven't traveled during the pandemic. You have 1 or 2 years of travel money put aside for a trip at some point. Go out and spend that. You saved it for it. Maybe you're not spending the full amount. Do whatever you have to do to find that comfort so that you can spend freely. Going on vacation with a credit card, not paying cash, should never do that. If you're going on a vacation, it better be cash. The second thing is going on vacation and penny pinching because you're not sure if you should spend all the money that you saved to go on your trip. There's no point going to Europe on a European vacation, allocating $15,000 for that trip and only spending 10 because you feel bad. And then you get back and you didn't really enjoy your trip as much because you didn't spend as much as you wanted to and you didn't do the things you wanted to do. And you look back years down the road and say, that was a really bad decision. And I hear this from people. Save up cash, use that cash, enjoy it, and enjoy your trip. The next chart I love, and I think this goes against typical culture, is 8 in 10 do not feel the pressure to keep up financially with their friends or colleagues. I typically find that the opposite is the case. We like to drive the same cars as our neighbors. You want to fit into your community, and typically we hang out around people that are like us, that make similar income, that have similar lifestyle and all that to us. I do find it interesting that people don't try and keep up. I see it all the time. I live just outside Vancouver. We have clients that younger clients, they have $250,000 to $300,000 sitting in their driveway. Of course, it's not in their garage because that's full of junk, but they can't afford their payments on their car. They can't afford the mortgage payments. They're living way beyond their means, and it's to keep up. So when it says that 8 in 10 do not feel the pressure, I find this hard to believe. Sure, maybe when you're older, I think there's less pressure as you get closer to retirement. You don't care as much. I'm already at the point I'm 40. I don't care. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about keeping up with other people. But definitely when I was younger, I was trying to keep up. I wanted what, my parents had and other people around me had more than I could afford. And I definitely went through that phase. I think it's a younger person phase to do, but that can run up to your 50s and 60s as well. So if you're going into debt to try and keep up and look good and do certain things, you're mortgaging your future. The next chart states that 2 in 10, only 20%, regret not investing or saving more earlier and more wisely. I think this should be 10 out of 10. I don't talk to anyone that said, I started investing early, I've done well, I've made the right decisions, and I'm glad that, I didn't buy that extra vehicle or do that extra trip and I saved my money instead. I never hear that from anyone. So to me, this is false information. I guarantee you 9 out of 10 of you watching this video wish you had saved more earlier or started saving earlier period. Allowed compound interest to work for you. A lot of you, because I talk to you every day, you start saving late. Sure, maybe you get enough for your retirement, you're happy and it works and whatever, but it's kind of that grind at the end to get to retirement. Wouldn't you wish you had saved more earlier or just started saving earlier so that those last years leading up to retirement were more free? You could maybe start kind of transitioning into retirement earlier, doing more travel earlier, all that kind of stuff. I would say this is more 90%, not 20%. So interesting information that 58% of people have more stress through the pandemic, but it's a lower percentage if you're working with a financial planner. And I know this firsthand working with some of you guys because a lot of you reach out to me, whether it was a current client or you reach out to me during the pandemic saying, I need help. I know I'm going to make a bad decision, or I already did make a bad decision. I can think of one client that phoned me. They sold out at the very bottom of the market, moved to cash. They phoned me a few months later and said, look, we know we did it wrong, but we need to get back on track. And we have been able to get them back on track and making some money for them, getting their plan on track and getting them to retirement when they want to retire. But going through phases like that with a financial planner, it's like having a counselor, someone on your shoulder. Right? The shoulder, good guy, bad guy. It's like having the good guy on your shoulder every time saying, what do I do here? Market's down. It's someone to kind of bounce ideas off of. So Vanguard shared a study not too long ago on this. We talked about it a couple of videos ago. It's a great illustration, great research done by Vanguard, which is an ETF provider, right? Like a product provider, saying that planning matters. Planning makes a difference and actually gives you a net return above what you're paying for. The data shows that having someone to walk alongside you during these tough times, it can be a huge impact on you and your financial stress. The next chart shows that most people are, more than half, are hopeful about their financial futures. I really think this goes back to the world is opening up. We can travel, we can do stuff. Of course, there's a bit of hype around that. Not hype necessarily, but energy behind that, saying, nah, I can go travel and I can do stuff and I can get out, I can see friends and all that kind of stuff and go make more money again and get back to my job, not working from home anymore, maybe back to full-time hours. There's a lot of factors behind it. So this doesn't surprise me. The fact that people are feeling good about their financial future, that's a good thing. But again, we need to make sure we don't kind of go off the rails now. Make sure you have a budget. Make sure you know where your expenses are. All of that needs to be in line and in tune, especially with current inflation. Prices are going up exponentially. We need to make sure that we're reining in expenses to make sure that we're still able to save enough to one day retire. Another concerning chart for me is this one here. And this is saying where you get your advice from. And the number one place you guys are getting your advice based on this poll of 2,000 people is family and friends. I would say that's not a great place to go. Some of you might have family and friends that are very well educated and can give you support. A lot of you are getting very bad advice. So just be aware. I've always said, bring someone around you that can give you that advice or support you in that, but make sure it's the right person. Second line, obviously financial advisor, that's great. And then it goes through, banks and internet and whatever else. Near the bottom of that list is financial planner. And I think this is a misconception that people have of what's a financial advisor versus a financial planner. And we're working hard in our industry to really make the consumer, make you understand what the difference is between a planner and an advisor. Typically, an advisor is someone that works at the bank, has very little to no education. A planner, a certified financial planner, CFP, has education, has experience, has an ongoing fiduciary to clients, has ongoing education requirements. It's like going to get your taxes done. Are you going to go to a CPA, a chartered accountant, or are you going to go to a bookkeeper? There's a difference. There's a difference in training and knowledge and background on that. Again, there's some great advisors out there. I'm not saying that they're bad people. It's just probably the knowledge, the training, and the ongoing education and advice and fiduciary to you is a little bit different on each side. The next chart, I think the top line is going to continue to grow. So 21% say that they manage their own affairs. I see that trend going up. And again, DIY is becoming more popular. It's becoming more available to a lot of you, which is good. Again, I've talked about it many times. Don't jump all to DIY without having planning. Again, where it says I can manage my own financial affairs. There's two parts of that. There's the investment piece and there's the planning piece. And a lot of you, most of you, cannot do the planning piece well. A lot of you try to, you have your own plan. You come to realize a lot of our videos are kind of bringing light to a lot of things, right? And a lot of you, the words that you tell me on the phone when we have the phone call is, I have a plan. I thought I was on the right track until I watched your videos and I realized it's much more complicated and in-depth than what I thought it was. And that's the honest truth. And when we build out a plan, typically we're able to save 6 figures or more of taxes for clients. And that's just through better strategy and planning and all that kind of stuff. So you can do it on your own on an Excel spreadsheet, but it's very high level and it's not going to save you the most amount of tax and it's not going to give you the most amount of money after tax in your pocket to enjoy retirement with. As we go down this chart, I don't feel my circumstances justify the need. I would say everyone needs, at some point before they hit retirement, they need to work. Maybe you're DIY, you get up. As you get closer to retirement, there's huge value. I see it every day. And I'm not saying this because I'm in the business. I see it because this is feedback from you guys that are doing plans with us. The next one, it was too expensive, and that's fair. It's not a free service that we offer. There is a fee to it, obviously. I can say this, I've never charged a fee and then provided zero value for the client. Typically, again, we're close to 100,000, if not much greater than 100,000 in savings. So if I said to you, look, I have a great investment for you, it's gonna cost you $4,000, but the return on investment through retirement, it's going to be well over $100,000. It's going to put a lot of money back in your pocket. Is that something that you consider doing? I would. And I think you guys should as well. Sometimes you have to spend a bit of money to make more down the line, to get clear direction, to know where to draw your income from in retirement, when to start CPP, all of those decisions. Pay a little bit of money to get a proper independent plan in place. That's going to get you a lot further than not doing anything. The fourth one down, I think 99% of you have dealt with this. Every time I talk to a financial professional, they try to sell me something. And this is the problem, right? Most financial advisors are tied to product, and that's how they get paid. That's where a fee-for-service advisor like what we do is very different in that we charge you a fee, we take your information, and we build you out the best plan. I don't care what product you're going to get invested in. We can give some advice around it and some opinion and whatever, but we don't have in-house product. So I know why you guys are getting tired of that. I would as well. I'm uncertain of the value of advice from a professional. Hopefully you guys are learning the value through channels like mine. There's other channels out there as well, doing your research. There is great value in getting good advice. It's like getting good advice in any area of your life. There's value to it. So hopefully this channel is bringing light to that. The next one, I don't trust financial professionals. And I get this too. and I've talked to many of you where, Adam, I've had 4 or 5 advisors. They've all done a terrible job. They've just sold me stuff. They've given me bad advice, whatever it is. We've all had bad advice. So we've had, bad relationships. We've had bad financial advisors. We've had bad teachers. We've had bad people in our life along. That doesn't mean that there's not good ones out there. So keep searching, find one that fits your mold and start working with them. The last one I'm going to touch on here is 4% of you. And I know that's a small percentage, but I think it's much greater than that. And I find dealing with a financial professional very intimidating. When I go to conferences and talk to other financial planners and advisors and people in the industry, they use industry language. They want to sound special and high level and important. This is one of the reasons why I created this channel, is to bring it down to a normal level. I don't know why most professionals have to talk at a high level. It makes no sense. People don't understand them, and to me, they sound dumb. And I think if you can find an advisor that speaks to your level, that's going to help you. And it's not dumbing it down. It's just not ramping it up. We can all talk at a normal level. You may not understand everything. That's an educational piece. That's not a language piece. You need to find an advisor that speaks language to you. They may need to educate you through that language, but they need to speak normal language. If you find that the advisor you're working with uses these big terms and whatever, they're trying to cover stuff. And I've seen this firsthand, people I've worked with or clients that have worked with other advisors. They're throwing these big things out there to kind of the shiny objects. And you have to rein that back in and say, look, let's just keep it simple. And that's my big philosophy, right? Keep it simple, stupid. I think that's the greatest way to do financial planning. It can be simple. Simple can save a lot of money. We do it day in and day out for clients. I know it works. For those of you that are kind of, intimidated by your financial planner, that's probably a good sign. It's time to move on. So thanks so much for joining us in this video. Again, this was a great survey. I loved it. Give some feedback. Hopefully this de-risks some of the stress in your life. Again, there's a lot going on. Take a step back sometimes. Look at the bigger picture. If you find you're struggling with your finances, maybe you need to find another job. Maybe you need to get a budget. Maybe you need to start reining in your expenses a little bit. Maybe you need to start buying no-name food versus brand name food, whatever it is. There's ways that you can make changes. Start making little changes, and it will impact your financial and retirement plan in big steps. So start with little steps and it will compound over time, I promise you. So thank you for joining us in this video. We'll see you in the next one.